Hi, and welcome once again to Ivy English. I'm Karen.
And I'm Chris Gorski.
Today is January 23rd, getting to the end of the first month of the year. Time goes by so fast. We're in the new year, but it's slipping by like all other years do. We're on page 61. The title of today's article, which I'm going to give you a little warning on, is kind of a challenge. So be ready to really pay attention. You're going to learn a lot of new information. Our title is The Dangers of Endocrine Disruptors.
Today is a great day to have your dictionary and check the vocabulary in your magazine. Have a pen ready, writing things down as you hear them. I mean, maybe you're washing the dishes and enjoying this more passively, but if you have your article in front of you, write all over this magazine. It will help when you need to review. You might not remember every minute of everything we say today, but if you write it down, it's going to be a fast way to help yourself do better on a challenging article.
I agree totally with you on this, and I was chatting with our recording engineer before the program. I thought a lot of people really don't buy magazines anymore because we read so much online. And our recording engineer told me, actually, a lot of people still do buy Ivy English. And the reason is because a lot of them like having the chance to read it slowly in front of them and take notes, just like you said.
I think so. It having the physical object. Listen, I've adopted a lot of digital materials, but magazines are still one of the things I still honestly enjoy. I purchase magazine subscriptions for people as gifts, and the physicality of having something and holding it and turning the page, there's still something very real and nice about it. So I hope you enjoyed looking at the magazine.
Yeah, that's how I read old Chinese books. So early Chinese books, there are a lot of words to look up. I definitely have like a book holder on the dining table, and that's how I read, and I make pencil notes. So yeah, this is one of those articles where you should make penciled or penned notes. So our title again is The Dangers of Endocrine Disruptors. Let's explain that before we start reading the article. Otherwise, you have no idea what we're talking about.
Okay, so your endocrine system is something in your body. The endocrine system sends out hormones. Hormones is a Greek word that means to set into motion, to excite or arouse something. You get these chemicals in your blood, and it makes various effects in your bodies.
So a disruptor is something that gets in the way of something else. So the endocrine system lets your hormones do their things, and we need our hormones to function normally as a human. But if something is disrupting these endocrines, that means that your hormones are not going to get the messages to do what they're supposed to do. It's a very serious health situation.
And pay attention to endocrine. There may be various pronunciations. Endocrine, and I will say is the most standard pronunciation. That last E is not said. You should draw a little X above that E. So it's not endocrine, endocrine. But you might hear someone say endocrine.
The dictionary actually gives it as an alternate pronunciation. Endocrine and endocrine are all acceptable, but normally it's endocrine.
Crine I could definitely hear because I know of various chemicals that use crine, like creatine, for example, which actually is produced by your endocrine system.
So don't be scared off by words like this.
That's
because
right.
Native speakers are not confident either about how to say them. So just go to Merriam-Webster, listen to the audio file, and then that should solve your problem. Okay, let's start our article. Due to mass industrialization, people may come into contact with a surprising number of harmful chemicals on a regular basis. Some chemicals, known as endocrine disrupting chemicals, EDCs, can negatively impact physical development in both humans and animals. They are also referred to as fake hormones because they are able to mimic natural hormones and trick our bodies into responding as if they were genuine hormones.
EDCs are particularly dangerous because even minimal exposure to these substances can have adverse effects on individuals, communities, or ecosystems over time. Studies have shown that they may harm reproductive health in both males and females. In adults, they can damage eggs in women and sperm in men, potentially leading to birth defects and neurological problems in offspring. Children exposed to EDCs may also suffer developmental problems such as stunted growth or an earlier onset of puberty.
EDCs are prevalent in numerous everyday products. The majority of known EDCs are in agricultural pesticides which can remain on food. These chemicals are also found in cleaning and beauty products. Therefore, it is recommended to opt for organic foods and products whenever possible. Other harmful agents may be present in certain meat products due to the use of growth hormones. To cut down on exposure to these chemicals, consume a broad spectrum of foods for a balanced diet rather than regularly eating the same meat dishes.
Additionally, EDCs are commonly found in plastic products, including many common household items like food wrappers, cookware, and even textiles. As a precaution, avoid using plastic materials and choose ceramic or glass alternatives. Furthermore, make sure to recycle plastic waste properly to prevent EDCs from contaminating soil or waterways. By taking these steps, we can help protect not only ourselves, but also the environment as well as the wider ecosystem.
Now, this can make you feel kind of stressed because I'm sure all of us have these chemicals inside of us already. I did a kind of unusual medical test a very long time ago, and they said overall, knock on wood, you seem healthy. They didn't find anything scary, cancer, this or that, the other thing. But they said you actually have a lot of residue from agricultural chemicals. I don't eat meat. I eat a lot of vegetables and fruit, and a lot of agricultural chemicals are used to grow vegetables and fruit in Taiwan. And even though I peel my fruit, a lot of the chemicals are actually inside of the fruit and vegetables. And for vegetables, you can soak them and wash them, but you can't get rid of them completely. So I saw actual results of that in my own self, and that's scary.
I read not long ago, actually pretty much a few days before we got this article, that Taiwan was once responsible for 10% of the world's pesticide use. This is back when chemicals like DDT were common, which are cancer-causing agents, which is incredible to think about. I think this is another way that Taiwan has remarkably improved in the past 20 years. There are still a lot of pesticides used, but I think a lot more Taiwanese are interested in organic or near-organic farming. I know that many companies have applied for organic licenses to sell organic food. However, because the surrounding farms still leach after the rain, you have all this leaching and kind of washing of pesticides into your fields. You can't technically qualify even if you don't use them yourselves.
It's not your fault.
It's not your fault, but it is. I think it's a good sign that Taiwanese really take this seriously.
That's right. And I was impressed that when I went to a very large supermarket that I often go to, I was watching a video about a certain fruit. And they videoed the people who were growing the fruit about how this large company was trying to teach them how to use more eco-friendly methods to grow their fruit and use less chemicals that way. And they said they were working together with this supermarket chain to improve how they raise vegetables and fruit. And I was so impressed.
I knew a professor that studied pesticide use, and I wish I remember the number. I knew him because he was my girlfriend's dad.
Okay.
And I was interested in his research, and he said that sure enough, like the peel is where the overwhelming majority of the pesticides still exist. And so you should peel your fruit. And that's a shame because there's a lot of nutritional value in the peel, and it tastes and part of the food, but it's just, if you want to avoid pesticides and you're not eating a lot of organic food, it might be best just to soak and then peel the products you have.
I definitely peel apples and Asian pears. Let's go to our article. So, the dangers of endocrine disruptors. Due to mass industrialization, people may come into contact with a surprising number of harmful chemicals on a regular basis.
All right, pay attention to chemicals. We're going to see some various words here that mean roughly the same thing. Chemicals, substances. We're going to see a word later, hormones. Please pay attention to it. It's in this paragraph.
And it sounds much the same in Chinese because they borrowed the word.
That's right. Have your highlighter and pens ready. Writing this stuff down is going to make reviewing this much easier today. Mass industrialization just means now we have big corporations making things more mechanized. It's not a small company or a small group of people doing things.
Okay, so there are a lot of harmful chemicals in our environment, and we are not always warned about them. They're just considered like, well, this makes our industrial process really easy, and we'll just sell it like this without telling you that there are potential poisons in the things that you are eating. Some chemicals, known as endocrine disrupting chemicals, EDCs, can negatively impact physical development in both humans and animals.
So your endocrine system is a system in your body. They send out chemicals in your body. They tell you what to do. The verb we should use is to secrete, S-E-C-R-E-T-E. This just means like to send out. Now, your endocrine system does not have a duct. It doesn't have something it sends directly to your body, like with your kidneys. This just goes straight into your blood. So they tend to react really quickly.
And things that are released inside your body, we say secrete. If it goes outside your body, like when you go to the bathroom, that's excrete. Next sentence, they are also referred to as fake hormones because they are able to mimic natural hormones and trick our bodies into responding as if they were genuine hormones. Now, there are a lot of things like this that can happen in our bodies. Some people actually have autoimmune disease. And what happens with autoimmune diseases is that your body attacks things from the body. They attacks organs and other things in your body, thinking that it's coming from outside. So sometimes your body cannot recognize a friend or an enemy. If it can't recognize a friend, it will treat it like an enemy, and your body starts destroying itself. In this case, it's an enemy, and your body thinks it's a friend, and they let it do bad things to you.
So your hormone is a Greek word that means to set into motion, to excite, to arouse. When you have hormones, your body reacts to them. So your body gets a fake chemical that tells you something to do here. I like this phrase, fake hormone, because it hits you right in the gut.
Yeah.
An endocrine disrupting chemical does not sound good, but I don't know how scary that is. Fake hormone is, I don't want any of those. Don't give me any of those fake hormones. I need the real deal.
And mimic means to act like something else. You pretend to be something else to fool people. EDCs are particularly dangerous because even minimal exposure to these substances can have adverse effects on individuals, communities, or ecosystems over time. Now, it's not just these EDCs. Ever since I was really young, I would read the labels on things like sodas and all kinds of processed foods. And I would see these very long chemical names at the end, and it says less than 0.1% of, and just by that, I knew it was not a good thing. It did not belong in the food. They put it there as a preservative or maybe as a flavoring agent or as a color or something else. All of them are dangerous. I don't know any of those that are safe. They would do tests on mice and say, well, the mice didn't die of cancer. But how long did you conduct the test? It doesn't mean that it is good for humans to eat it over and over again, like if it's in your potato chips or something else. You are eating a lot of it over time, and a lot of people end up with cancer or something else because of these tiny amounts of things. So the people are putting in these tiny amounts of things and telling you it's safe are not to be trusted.
So we have this word substance here. I would draw a little arrow up to paragraph 1. We have chemical, and you could draw your little arrow to hormone as well. So we can kind of see that chemicals, hormones, and substances are all related words. They all do mean slightly different things, but they're words that you might not always see in the same context. So pay attention to them and kind of learn them as chunks, and it will help make kind of keeping them in your head a little bit easier.
And adverse means negative or bad.
Let's continue to our next sentence here. Studies have shown that they may harm reproductive health in both males and females.
Now, doesn't that scare you when it says reproductive? Because hurting your body is one thing, but what about your kids and grandkids?
That's right. Reproductive health just means your ability to make babies, and studies is plural. If you want it to be uncountable, you would say research shows.
Or has shown.
In adults, they can damage eggs in women and sperm in men, potentially leading to birth defects and neurological problems in offspring.
Does that one freak you out like it freaks me out?
This one is a scary one because it's one thing to do something to yourself. It's entirely different to want to cause harm to your child or a child in general.
That's right.
So your Sperm, of course, is the thing. It's Greek for seed, to sow. So if you're going to make a baby, you need egg and sperm. You might not know that word. Your birth defect are physical problems, and your neurological problems are mental problems. Your offspring is just a word for babies, but it includes all types of animals and creatures. Babies feels very specific to humans.
Note that it is uncountable, so do not add an S to it. Offspring just means a collection of people who were born by you.
Children exposed to EDCs may also suffer developmental problems such as stunted growth or an earlier onset of puberty.
Now, maybe you think that's not so bad. We can grow up sooner. No, it's not good. If you are only in like 3rd or 4th grade, already developing breasts and starting your period, that's way too early. Yeah, sex drive comes with that. If you don't have a really supportive family, you may start doing dangerous things starting from a very young age when it's way too early. And we have seen this in all kinds of industrialized cultures. So if they are highly industrialized, you will see this early onset of puberty. It's happening all over the world, but it's especially pronounced in minorities. And I think one reason for that, one possible reason, is they probably eat more processed foods.
Yeah, that's right. Poverty leads to fewer food choices, and so you're getting cheaper and poorer quality food choices. This is true. Stunted growth means you will be shorter. And earlier onset of puberty means your body starts to change from child to adult. I have noticed this, and I know research states that puberty would onset in the Middle Ages, around the ages of 15, maybe even 16.
For guys.
Even for girls back in the day. Like way long ago, puberty was a much later thing, but it's gotten
earlier and
earlier. Ages 10 is not uncommon anymore. Generally speaking, as a rule in my own classroom, if girls need to suddenly go to the bathroom when they're reaching like 3rd, 4th, 5th grade, no questions asked, because I don't know what's going on yet.
Yeah.
And you need to reasonably suspect that a girl may be experiencing like onset of puberty issues. That's right.
Well, actually, if anybody has to go to the bathroom, I never stop them anyway. I just go. Okay, next paragraph. EDCs are prevalent in numerous everyday products. Now, this is scary. And the thing is that starting from when I was really young, I was really used to processed food because it was the 60s and we had tons of processed food then already. It was just part of our diet. It didn't really change until late 70s when people started becoming aware that it was not really good for you. So there are things that you probably use, food that you eat, without thinking there's any problem.
Be careful of the word prevalent. It means common. We don't say prevalent. It's prevalent with a short E sound. And I agree. Generally speaking, I will tell children if you're not sure if something is healthy or unhealthy, much like Karen was saying, look at your ingredient label. I always suggest try to see if there are whole ingredients. So you're looking at one ingredient foods like banana. Apple.
Right.
Those are rice. Those are all single ingredient foods. And generally speaking, those are more healthy than foods with ingredient labels of 15 or 20 items. That's not to say there aren't healthy foods with lots of ingredients, but generally speaking, the fewer ingredients, the better it's going to be for you.
Exactly. The majority of known EDCs are in agricultural pesticides, which can remain on food. And I just told you that story earlier. I was found to have a lot of these residues in my body, which always has me scared because there's no way to completely get rid of them.
That's right. So agricultural is just an adjective for farming, and pesticides, we know a pest is a bug that we don't want around or other creatures, and cide, C-I-D-E, means to kill.
And also cleaning products. So I've been a housewife much of my life, and you have to figure out good ways to clean the house. And then I found out all of the awful things in the cleaning products that are bad, not just for me, but they go into the ecosystem. They go into the ground. They go into the water supply, no matter what you do. And they are really, really dangerous. And they don't always get all removed from the water cleaning process. So these products are really, really dangerous.
My wife taught me a lot about these because she got into making her own cleaning products. And I'm like, I can't be bothered with this. And she kind of patiently explained to me why it's valuable. And she didn't go into the science, but she was just like, it's like going into the soil. It's killing like insects and things that, and she knows I'm concerned about that. And so I got on board. Now it's just second nature to make her own cleaning products. but it's weird to start doing it when you're used to just grabbing something off the shelf.
I use almost no manufactured cleaning products. I use soap and stuff like that. But for cleaning the house, I mainly just use water and vinegar and things like that because they are full of stuff you do not want to be close to. Therefore, it is recommended to opt for organic foods and products whenever possible, which is a great idea. But the problem is they are usually quite expensive and harder to find. And a lot of people will think, I'm not a high-income person. I'm going to pick the cheaper one.
I agree. That is a very common struggle for a lot of people without extra income. To opt for just means to choose.
Other harmful agents may be present in certain meat products due to the use of growth hormones. And when I hear stuff like this, I'm very glad I don't eat meat.
So we have chemicals, substances, and now we have agents. Write these words down or highlight them so we can remember.
Not totally against eating meat, but don't eat too much. To cut down on exposure to these chemicals, consume a broad spectrum of foods for a balanced diet rather than regularly eating the same meat dishes. Just try to reduce your reliance on meat for your dietary requirements.
When we say a broad spectrum, we mean many kinds. Let's continue to our next paragraph. Additionally, EDCs are commonly found in plastic products, including many common household items like food wrappers, cookware, and even textiles. And Karen, you may know that the company Tupperware recently filed for bankruptcy.
Yeah.
And some people theorize it's because that their very famous plastic products in the past leached chemicals and there was an impending lawsuit. So by jumping ahead of it now and declaring bankruptcy, they can switch their name and come back without the potential danger of this lawsuit.
Actually, any plastic will leach. Any plastic.
I use these cups all the time. I'm looking at my cup right now. The reason why I like it so much is that I could fit my whole hand in there and clean it.
Yeah.
It's special where it's like it's not supposed to leach chemicals and stuff.
But
I wish there were glass jars that were this size, but there aren't.
But they're also breakable. Also, cookware. So do not buy anything with a nonstick coating, especially Teflon, but any nonstick coating has got these chemicals. You can be sure of that.
Let's continue. As a precaution, avoid using plastic materials and choose ceramic or glass alternatives. Especially avoid using hot items in plastic, which causes more leaching.
Definitely if heat is involved, do not use plastic.
Furthermore, make sure to recycle plastic waste properly to prevent EDCs from contaminating soil or waterways.
But now there is a lot of plastic waste that cannot be recycled. You just have to put it in the trash, which is unfortunate. We have to stop using so many plastics.
By taking these steps, we can help protect not only ourselves, but also the environment as well as the wider ecosystem.
The manufacturers have to take more responsibility in this whole problem. Let's look at our questions. Number 1, which of the 2 following items are less likely to contain EDCs?
And our answers are C, organic vegetables, and E, wooden chopsticks.
However, wooden chopsticks may be bleached, so there's still stuff in them probably. Numbers 2 to 3.
Fill in the blanks with the information contained in the passage. Exposure to EDCs may negatively affect both male and female blank.
Reproduction.
Potentially leading to unhealthy eggs or sperm and reduced fertility. Children exposed to EDCs may experience issues in their blank.
Development.
Like delayed growth or premature puberty.
Number 4, what is the effect of EDCs on the environment? And the answer is
contaminating or maybe contamination of the soil or waterways.
Take this stuff seriously. It really will affect your health and the health of everybody around you. That's it for today. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Take care.